East Asia has long been home to some of the most enduring and influential dynasties in world history. Across China, Japan, and Korea, powerful ruling families have shaped society, governance, culture, and innovation. Each dynasty left a lasting legacy that continues to influence modern nations. The dynastic world of East Asia was one of thriving trade, cultural achievements, and innovation. In China, the last imperial dynasty, the Qing, ruled over a diverse and vast empire while wrestling with internal and external pressures. In Japan, the Tokugawa shogunate ushered in a period of peace and isolation that transformed the nation. Meanwhile, in Korea, the Joseon dynasty refined Confucian ideals and built a cultural identity that remains a cornerstone of Korean heritage today. Keep watching to explore these three remarkable dynasties in depth, from their rise to their fall. The many dynasties of Asia. Before diving into the Qing, Tokugawa, and Joseon dynasties, it's essential to acknowledge that East Asia's history is filled with numerous other influential dynasties. China alone saw a succession of ruling families over thousands of years, from the legendary Shang and Zhou dynasties to the mighty Han, Tang, and Ming dynasties. Japan experienced earlier periods of imperial rule, while Korea had the Goguryeo, Bakshi, and Silla kingdoms before Joseon. These dynasties played an essential role in shaping their respective nations, contributing to East Asia's rich and complex history. While this video focuses on three key dynasties, understanding their place within a broader historical context is crucial. It adds to the appreciation of their lasting impact and their place in East Asia's narrative. Qing China, the last imperial dynasty. The Qing dynasty was China's final imperial dynasty. It was ruled by the Manchu people, who conquered the Ming dynasty in 1644. Despite their foreign origins, the Qing emperors maintained traditional Confucian principles and expanded China's borders to the greatest extent. One of the most remarkable rulers of the Qing era was the Kangxi Emperor, who reigned for 61 years, the longest reign of any Chinese emperor. A brilliant strategist and administrator, he stabilized the empire, encouraged intellectual pursuits, and promoted economic prosperity. Under Kangxi and his successors, China saw the arts, literature, and trade flourish. One of his most outstanding achievements was creating a dictionary that is considered the best standardization of the written Chinese characters of the Han language. He also funded surveys to make the most extensive maps of China up to that time. He reduced taxes, stifled government corruption, enacted policies that benefited farmers, and stopped land seizures. The Kangxi Emperor wasn't just a ruler. He was a master strategist and a force of unstoppable efficiency. Slashing unnecessary government expenses, he streamlined his administration, cutting excess staff and curbing expenditures without weakening the empire's might. At the same time, he dominated the battlefield, crushing three major Han rebellions and reclaiming Taiwan under Qing control. But his military prowess didn't stop there. He outmaneuvered Tsarist Russia, halting their relentless incursions and securing the Treaty of Nerchinsk in 1689. This landmark agreement not only solidified Qing authority over vast stretches of Siberia, but also neutralized a key foreign threat, further cementing Kangxi's legacy as a ruler who expanded, defended, and fortified his empire with precision and vision. During his reign, potatoes and corn were introduced to China from the Americas, contributing to the nation's agricultural abundance. He also saw an explosion in exports, particularly in cotton, silk, tea, and ceramics, bringing wealth to the empire. He was overwhelmingly successful as emperor. However, by the 19th century, the Qing dynasty faced mounting challenges. The Opium Wars with Britain exposed China's vulnerabilities, leading to the loss of Hong Kong and a series of humiliating treaties. The Opium Wars began due to Britain's trade imbalance with China, as Britain imported large amounts of tea, silk, and porcelain, but could only pay with silver, draining its reserves. In response, Britain used the East India Company to smuggle opium from British-controlled India into China. Chinese merchants paid for opium in silver, reversing the trade deficit in Britain's favor. By 1839, opium sales covered the entire British tea trade. When Qing official Lin Zexu attempted to stop the opium trade by seizing and destroying opium in Canton, Britain retaliated, leading to the First Opium War, 1839 to 1842. By 1840, there were millions of Chinese citizens addicted to opium, primarily due to illegal British imports. The Chinese government was keen to stop the imports not only for the welfare of their people, but also because they were eroding China's trade advantages. When China forced the British chief superintendent of trade in China to hand over opium so it could be destroyed, the British were outraged and war broke out. The Treaty of Nanking in 1842 ended the war, enabling the British to carry out mercantile transactions with anyone they pleased. The Chinese were required to relax their control of foreign trade, including that of opium. Unfortunately, the Qing dynasty's challenges did not end there. The ease with which the British defeated the Chinese seriously affected the dynasty's reputation, contributing to the Taiping Rebellion 8 years later. The Taiping Rebellion was a civil war between the Qing dynasty and the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom. It resulted in the rebels seizing the city of Nanjing for a decade. While it eventually failed, it led to the deaths of more than 20 million people. The Boxer Rebellion was an anti-foreign, anti-Christian uprising in northern China, aimed at expelling Western and Japanese influence. In June 1900, the Boxers, supported by elements of the Qing government, laid siege to the foreign legation quarter in Beijing for 55 days, trapping diplomats, missionaries, and foreign civilians in a desperate struggle for survival. The siege ended on August 14, 1900, when a multinational coalition, including American forces, stormed the city and crushed the rebellion. The conflict officially concluded with the Boxer Protocol in September 1901, which imposed heavy reparations on China, executed Boxer leaders, and allowed foreign military occupation in parts of Beijing, marking the rebellion's decisive defeat. Just 10 years after the end of the Boxer Rebellion, a group of revolutionaries led a successful revolt against the Qing dynasty in the Chinese Revolution of 1911. They established the Republic of China, ending the imperial system and the Qing dynasty. Tokugawa Japan, the Age of the Samurai. Japan's Tokugawa shogunate was established by Tokugawa Ieyasu in 1603, ending centuries of warfare. Before Tokugawa Ieyasu, Japan was decentralized and torn apart by nearly a century of warfare during the Sengoku period. Feudal lords called daimyo battled for dominance, leading to instability. Ieyasu's victory at the Battle of Sekigahara in 1600 was the turning point that allowed him to consolidate power. In 1603, he was appointed shogun and ruled from his fortified castle in Edo, modern Tokyo, laying the foundation for over 250 years of Tokugawa rule and stability. From its inception, the Tokugawa regime prioritized stability and control, aiming to restore order after a century of relentless warfare. To achieve this, they crafted a rigid political structure that placed all daimyos under direct shogunate authority, ensuring that no single daimyo could amass excessive land or influence. By enforcing these restrictions, the Tokugawa leadership extinguished the internal strife and chaos that had long plagued Japan's fractured feudal landscape. The Tokugawa rulers enforced a strict class hierarchy. They followed a Neo-Confucian theory that recognized only 4 social classes: samurai warriors, artisans, farmers, and merchants. Mobility between the 4 classes is officially prohibited. The samurai were Japan's warrior class. In previous eras, they were provincial warriors, but their roles began to shift during the Tokugawa period. Because it ushered in a time of peace after many years of war, the samurai's role adapted to suit Japan's new environment. Instead of using military force, they governed through civil means. While they maintained their identity as warriors, they became bureaucrats and administrators. The artisans, farmers, and merchants had very straightforward roles. Artisans were skilled workers who created goods like clothing, pottery, and metalware, and enjoyed a respected status due to their skills. The farmers made up 80% of the population, providing the economic foundation of the system. Finally, merchants, which included traveling traders and shopkeepers, were at the bottom of the social order. They were shunned by society, branded as opportunists who thrived off the hard work of farmers and artisans without contributing real value themselves. Seen as exploiters rather than contributors, they faced widespread resentment for benefiting from the labor of those deemed far more essential to the economy. The shogunate also implemented a policy of sakoku, or national seclusion, which limited foreign influence and maintained social order. Only a few nations, including Dutch and Chinese traders, were allowed limited contact with Japan. Despite their isolation during this period, Japan thrived. The arts flourished, giving rise to kabuki theater, haiku poetry, and the ukiyo-e woodblock prints. Urban centers like Edo, modern-day Tokyo, thrived as well. However, in the mid-19th century, the arrival of U.S. Commodore Matthew Perry forced Japan to open its doors to the world. The unequal treaties signed with the Western powers led to internal strife, culminating in the fall of the shogunate in 1868 and the beginning of the Meiji Restoration, which is credited with modernizing Japan by abolishing the feudal power system and rapidly industrializing the country. Joseon Korea, the Confucian Kingdom. The Joseon dynasty, founded by General Yi Songjai in 1392, was one of the longest ruling Confucian dynasties in East Asia. It was named Joseon after the state of the same name that dominated the Korean peninsula in ancient times. The Joseon dynasty is also known as the Yi dynasty, after its ruling family. General Yi established close relationships with the neighboring Ming dynasty of China, which considered Korea a client state, and Chinese cultural influence was very strong during this period. Joseon's administration was modeled after China, and Neo-Confucianism was adopted as the ideology of the state and society. Joseon Korea established a strict social hierarchy and reinforced Confucian ideals, shaping Korean culture for centuries. In addition to a strict social hierarchy and reinforced Confucian ideals that have shaped Korean society for centuries, Joseon Korea also changed how land ownership was controlled. Under previous dynasties, land ownership was concentrated in the hands of a few high-ranking officials. During his rule, Yi Songjai reshaped Korea's social and political hierarchy, redistributing land among government officials and establishing a powerful new elite, the Yangban, a class of scholar officials. Under the Joseon dynasty, intellectual pursuits thrived, with scholarship reaching unprecedented heights, laying the foundation for a society deeply rooted in Confucian ideals and academic excellence. One of Joseon's most influential rulers was King Sejong the Great, who oversaw the creation of Hangul, the Korean alphabet, in 1443. This allowed literature to spread beyond the elite class and remains a defining feature of Korean identity today. The dynasty also produced remarkable advancements in science, medicine, and art, including celestial globes, rain gauges, and detailed maps. However, Joseon Korea faced repeated invasion, mainly from Japan in the late 16th century and later by the Qing dynasty. By the 19th century, the Joseon dynasty struggled with internal corruption, peasant uprisings, and increasing foreign pressure. In 1897, King Gojong declared the Korean Empire, officially ending Joseon rule, though Korea soon fell under Japanese colonial rule in 1910. Legacy of Qing China, Tokugawa Japan, and Joseon Korea. Though these dynasties have long since faded, their legacies continue to shape the modern nations of China, Japan, and Korea. The Qing dynasty's territorial expansion laid the foundation for China's modern borders, while its struggles with foreign powers influenced later political ideologies. In Japan, the Tokugawa shogunate's era of peace and isolation allowed for a distinct cultural identity to develop, and many of its traditions continue to be celebrated today. Meanwhile, the Joseon dynasty's Confucian values remain deeply embedded in Korean culture, influencing everything from language to social norms to government structures. These dynasties left behind political and cultural legacies and set the stage for modernization, nationalism, and global influence. Understanding these histories gives us insight into the forces that continue to shape East Asia in the 21st century. How would you like to get a deeper understanding of history, impress your friends, and predict the future more accurately based on past events? If this sounds like something you might be into, then check out the brand new Captivating History Book Club by clicking the first link in the description. To learn more about East Asia and its dynasties, check out our book, History of East Asia, a captivating guide to the history of China, Japan, Korea, and Taiwan. It's available as an ebook, paperback, and audiobook. If you found the video captivating, please hit the like button and subscribe for more videos like this.